Hello everyone, you're watching Goal Plan with me. I'm Kat and welcome to the Hive. Once again, hello. I'm happy to have you here on this first inaugural video on Queen of the Flying Bumblebees. This is my very first year setting intentional, concrete goals, and this channel is both part of those goals and also a way for me to hold myself accountable. To help myself in achieving my goals, I have decided to use the Cultivate What Matters Powersheets intentional goal planning system because I wanted a deep dive to figure out what really matters to me, even if that is just what matters to me right now. What are Powersheets? Well, if you've clicked on this video, you've probably heard of them before. Powersheets are an intentional goal planning system. Basically, it's a method that helps you figure out what really matters to you in the long run and then helps you plan concrete steps in order to achieve those goals. According to the creator, Laura Casey, this is a proven system, but it only works if you actually, do the system. So this year, that is my big intention, and what this channel and you viewers are going to be helping me with, because you are the ones to whom I will be accountable. So the first 45 pages of this planner are specifically dedicated to figuring out your goals and then setting them. Those are what are called the prep work. It took me about 2 months to do them because I specifically wanted to take this seriously and actually think through what my goals were, to answer all the questions, to really do a deep dive inside and figure out what really matters to me, right now at least, and just how I'm going to achieve those things. As I went through the Powersheets, I had to look through and think about things such as what I'm most encouraged by. In my case, it's affirming words. I like being told I'm doing a good job. Pretty basic. Then I had to look into what helps me do my best. Well, in my case, it is this, being held accountable to someone else. Because if I'm held accountable just to myself, oftentimes I don't actually do anything because, I can easily tell myself, that's fine. Other things that will hold me accountable are clear milestones. If I know the steps along the way, I'm much more likely to actually get to those steps. I like having the goalpost that you reach and then go past. I also like having a concrete plan. So something that actually I can look at and be like, yes, I can see exactly what's happening and what the steps are. And the last thing that helps me is stability. Then I got to ask myself, what do I feel motivated by? In my case, it's a really simple thing, having a checklist. I like having a checklist and then checking it off. The next bit took me some time to think about. I was asked, how do I feel most days? And really what I came to is that I feel as though life is passing me by. I'm basically overwhelmed so much by everything that I want to do because I don't have a concrete plan that I end up just going into executive dysfunction and sitting, staring at a computer screen, basically doing nothing because my brain just decides no. So, this year, with the Powersheets and the ability to have an actual roadmap of what my goals are and how to achieve them, fingers crossed, I'm able to actually get through my goals and stop feeling that helplessness in the face of reality. The next one was fun. It was the question of what fires me up. And, it's actually pretty mundane things most of the time. I like being entertained. I like watching YouTube. I like reading, going to museums, going to the park, hanging out with my friends, love going shopping, but only for specific things, and mostly alone. But still, I love going shopping, playing games, traveling. The next question was a fun one. It was, what fires me up? And in my case, it's normal things. Watching YouTube, reading books, hanging out with friends, going shopping. I also like biking, which I haven't been able to do last year because I had a newborn, and hanging out with my kid. She's really cute. I love traveling, going to museums. History is a really big passion of mine, so museums are a big thing for me. Funny enough, as I went through the Powersheets, I realized that while these are things that fire me up and that I love doing, they're not actually what is important to me. They're just the things that I like doing to fill up the time. As I went through what the Powersheets call the cultivated life evaluation, I basically looked at the different areas of my life and gave it a rating from 1 to 10 based on how I feel about it. So, do I feel satisfied? And I basically took it to go with 1 is absolutely horrible, and 10 is I am exactly where I want to be with it. I mean, 10 is basically not achievable and everything. There's just simply not enough time in the world for me to be a 10 in my world. But getting close to it is going to be where I'm happy. And what really jumped out at me is that while most areas of my life that are to do with leisure activities are great, anything to do with things that actually matter to me, the things that I want to focus on, are really sort of, well, shitty. I want to be able to focus on my relationships with my family and my friends, and I just forget. Simple as that. My mind stops remembering when was the last time I talked to my parents. When was the last time my sister and I hung out? I mean, it's COVID right now, so that's a different thing, but we could have hung out on FaceTime, and I don't remember the last time I did that. What ended up happening, I realized, is that my family and my friends are the ones who usually contact me. And, I mean, it's convenient, but it also looks as though I don't care about my friends and family, which is not true. I do, I just forget. Another thing that jumped out at me is an important one is, well, work and finances. I worked in the airline industry, and as you can imagine, COVID happened, and I don't have a career anymore, even though it was going fine just last year. So I'm now sort of stuck in a spot where I have to find a new source of income and also have it be either from home where I can take care of my kid, or it has to be something that's high paying enough that I can afford to have to pay for childcare, because childcare is stupid expensive. Everything else is actually quite good, which means that I finally am able to figure out a focus and a path for how to make sure that I actually do the goals that I want to do, and also make sure that the goals that I set are actually in line with what I want my life to be. The next question that the Powersheets asked me was a difficult one. It was, what kind of boxes do I put myself into? And this really took a lot of introspection, because I never really thought that I put myself into boxes, but I did, clearly. I mean, after thinking about it, I've always been incredibly embarrassed about looking silly. I always feel embarrassed about being on camera, about performing for people. I don't like failure, and I tend to avoid anything that might have failure in it. Well, this channel actually goes against that. I am honestly very nervous about all this. It makes me... I don't like being laughed at. I don't like looking silly. And the thing is, the likelihood that anyone's actually going to see this video is basically nil. And also, anyone who does see this video probably isn't going to look at me and start laughing or think that I'm ridiculous. But it is something that I fear. Actually, it gives me a bit of anxiety. Actually gives me a lot of anxiety. Other things I fear really tie into that. I fear taking leadership because I worry about failure and that the failure is going to reflect on me. I worry about being a creator and creating something that people think is going to be stupid or ridiculous, because I judge myself really harshly on these things. I've always sort of placed myself into this box that I'm not a leader, I'm an executor. That I take good direction, I don't necessarily give good directions. even though at work it's been shown that is the opposite. I'm a pretty good leader, but I still put myself in that box. And that is something that I am going to be trying to work on, and that is going to be part of me completing my goals. The next bit took some thinking. As you can see, this is why it took me so long to finish this. There was a lot of thinking, especially since this is my first time doing this. And the question was, what really matters to me? What is going to matter when I'm 80? And it actually turned out to be really basic things. It's my family, my home, my friends. It's the relationships that I've built, and what wasn't going to matter to me. And it turns out that where I get to in my career just doesn't matter to me, at least right now. Maybe 50 years down the line that'll change, but I don't think it will. It turns out I don't actually care where I am in my career. As long as I have enough funds to do the things that I want to do in my life, what position I am doesn't matter. Large personal achievements also don't matter. It turns out for me, my social circle is the most important thing in my life. And I never really thought about that. I tend to spend most of my time alone because I like it that way, and yet I still want to be connected. It turns out that still the most important thing to me is to be connected to people. And what do I want to be known for? I want to be known for being a good friend, to be remembered as a good friend, as a good child, as a good parent, someone who brought joy and warmth and help to other people. And the last big question that Powersheets asked me is to make a yes and no list. So things that I'm going to be doing and things that I'm saying no to, that I'm not going to be doing. And this one is sort of fun, actually. I'm going to allow myself to fail. Maybe this YouTube channel is just gonna flop. Who knows? Maybe this is gonna end up looking silly or stupid, or no one's gonna watch this a year or two from now, and all of my efforts can be for naught. But I'm gonna allow myself to do it, to sort of put myself out there and potentially to end up looking ridiculous. I'm gonna say yes to less distracting things. I'm gonna say yes to doing things on my own, to not waiting on other people to start doing them for me. Basically, to be that leader, for myself at least, instead of being a follower for other people who don't even realize that I'm trying to follow them. I'm gonna say yes to pushing myself forward, to putting myself into those slightly uncomfortable situations, to grow and also to achieve the things that I want to achieve, because that's the only way that it's gonna happen. And I'm gonna say yes to focusing on my family. It can be difficult to focus on your family. Sometimes they drive me insane. And yet, they are what matters to me most. So that's going to be a big yes in this year going forward. What am I going to say no to? Well, the big one is, right now, Reddit. Because if I go onto Reddit, I'm not going to complete anything at all, because I'll end up stuck in that quagmire, just reading comments and answering questions and doing God knows what for hours on end. I also said no to giving up before I try, because that happens a lot. I have this great idea that I want to do, and then I just don't do it. I don't start because I'm convinced that it's going to fail before I even try to do it. So, saying no to giving up before I try. I'm also saying no to YouTube, which is also a distraction, and coasting along, because so far coasting along has served me fine, but it hasn't really made me very happy or help me to get closer to the goals that I actually want to achieve. At the end of the prep work, Powersheets tells you to put it all together and do a fill in the blank. Mine went, my name is Kat. I am excited. I am capable of change, and I'm deciding that I can. The areas of my life that most need to be cultivated are family and friends, finances, and work. In the past, I've put things off and wasted time on Reddit, but now I'm ready to focus on what matters, my family, and create a structured environment to thrive in. My legacy starts today. When I'm 80, I want to be surrounded by family and friends in my dream home. I'll be known for being a good friend and parent and a good leader. I'll start living my life vision this year by following through on my plans, by writing them down and embracing new things. I will do this little by little with leaps of faith along the way. See, I want to make what matters happen because I need the personal growth. My definition of success is becoming more present and active in my life. I will live this by saying yes to Audible and podcasts, accepting failure, focusing on family, and saying no to Reddit, YouTube, disregarding my desires. And I will surround myself with less distractions and fill my life with more awareness and silence. I'm ready. Let's do this. Tune in next time as I reveal my word of the year, go over my goals, and also go through my tending list and the specific concrete steps that I've decided to set myself in order to achieve my goals. You've been watching Goal Plan with me. I've been Kat. Hope y'all have a nice day, and I'm buzzing away.